The rain had started as a drizzle when I left my office, but by the time I reached Monroe Street, it was coming down in sheets. I ducked into the first cafe I saw, shaking water from my hair and wiping my glasses on the hem of my sweater. The warmth hit me immediately, along with the rich scent of espresso and fresh pastries. 7 years in this city, and I had never been to this particular cafe. Strange how you could live somewhere so long and still discover new corners, new spaces that had existed all along just outside your daily routine. I moved toward the counter, my shoes squeaking slightly on the polished floor. The place was busier than I expected for a Thursday afternoon. Business people hunched over laptops, students with textbooks spread across tables, an elderly couple sharing a slice of cake. Normal, safe, exactly the kind of anonymous space I had learned to appreciate. What can I get you? The barista smiled, her name tag reading, Sophie. Large cappuccino, please. Extra shot. Rough day? She rang up the order. You could say that. I handed her my card, not elaborating. The manuscript I had been editing for the past 3 weeks was a disaster. The author, a best-selling thriller writer, had apparently forgotten basic grammar rules somewhere between books. My eyes ached from staring at the screen. My back protested from hours in my desk chair, and I had skipped lunch entirely. I will bring it to your table. Sophie handed back my card. I scanned the cafe for an empty seat, finally spotting one in the back corner. Perfect. Quiet, away from the door, with a view of the rain-streaked windows. I made my way through the maze of tables and chairs, already thinking about the hot bath I would take when I got home. Maybe some wine. Definitely some wine. I set my bag down and pulled out my phone, checking messages. 3 from my assistant about tomorrow's meetings. 1 from my best friend Clara asking if I wanted to grab dinner this weekend. Nothing urgent. Nothing that could not wait. I was about to sit when a voice behind me, low and achingly familiar, stopped me cold. Isabella. My name. Just my name. But the way he said it, with that particular weight, that specific tone I had not heard in 7 years, made my entire body freeze. No, it could not be. Not here. Not now. Not after all this time and all this distance. I turned slowly, hoping desperately that I was wrong, that my mind was playing tricks, that the voice belonged to someone else entirely. But of course, it did not. Luca Moretti sat at a corner table I had somehow missed in my initial scan of the room. He was partially hidden by a pillar, which explained why I had not seen him. A newspaper lay open in front of him, a cup of espresso at his elbow, and his dark eyes were fixed on me with an intensity that had not diminished even slightly over 7 years. He looked different, older, obviously. The boyish quality he had still possessed at 32 was gone, replaced by something harder, more carved. His dark hair, once worn slightly long, was cut shorter now, though still perfectly styled. A few threads of silver at his temples. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. No tie. The top button of his white shirt undone. He looked expensive, dangerous. Exactly like the man I had run from 7 years ago. Luca. The word came out strangled. What are you doing here? Having coffee. He leaned back in his chair, completely at ease while I felt like the floor was tilting beneath my feet. The same as you, it seems. In this cafe. In this city. I clutched my phone tighter. You live in New York. I have business here. His eyes never left my face. Seattle has become quite important to my interests lately. Business. The word was loaded with everything we never spoke about during our brief marriage. The business that had ended us. The business I had fled from. The business that had nearly destroyed me. I need to go. I reached for my bag. Isabella, please. He stood, and I was reminded again of his height, the way he moved with such controlled grace. 5 minutes. That is all I am asking. You do not get to ask me for anything. The words came out sharper than I intended, but I did not take them back. 5 minutes, and then if you still want to leave, I will not stop you. His voice dropped lower. Please, there are things I need to say, things you deserve to hear. I should have walked out, should have grabbed my bag and pushed past him and never looked back, just like I did 7 years ago when I left our penthouse apartment with nothing but a suitcase and a broken heart. But something in his voice, some note of genuine plea rather than the command I was used to, made me hesitate. 5 minutes. I set my bag down but remained standing. And then I am leaving. Luca gestured to the chair across from him. Please, sit. I will stand. A flicker of something. Amusement, maybe. Or resignation. Crossed his face. As you wish. We stood there. 2 people who had once promised forever to each other. Now strangers with a shared painful past. The cafe noise continued around us. The espresso machine hissed. Conversations hummed. Rain hammered against the windows. But in our small corner, time seemed suspended. You look well, Luca said finally. Different. Your hair is shorter. I cut it. I did not elaborate that I had cut it the day after I left him, needing to shed some physical reminder of the person I had been with him. It suits you. He paused. You are still editing? Still editing. The fact that he remembered what I did for a living surprised me. During our marriage, he had never seemed particularly interested in my work. How did you know I was in Seattle? I did not. His honesty surprised me. This truly is coincidence. I have been here for 2 weeks handling some acquisitions. I come to this cafe most afternoons. Today was just. He trailed off. Fate, perhaps. I do not believe in fate. You used to. I used to believe in a lot of things. The bitterness in my voice was unmistakable. I got older, wiser. Isabella. The way he said my name, soft and pained, made something twist in my chest. I know I have no right to ask this, but please, let me explain. Let me tell you what happened after you left. What has changed? Nothing has changed, Luca. You are still who you are, and I am still someone who cannot live in that world. You are right. He surprised me again. I am still who I am, but the world has changed. I have changed it. Before I could respond, Sophie appeared with my cappuccino. Here you go. She set it on Luca's table since I was standing nearby. Oh, are you two together? I can bring it to another table if you prefer. We are not together, I said. At the same time, Luca said, we are old friends. Sophie looked between us, clearly sensing tension. Okay, well, enjoy. She retreated quickly. I stared at the cappuccino, at the perfect leaf pattern in the foam, at the tangible representation of why I had come into this cafe in the first place. For something simple, something normal, something that had nothing to do with my past. Sit, Luca said again, softer this time. Please, the coffee will get cold. Against every instinct screaming at me to run, I sat, but I pulled my chair slightly back from the table, maintaining distance. 5 minutes. Start talking. Luca took a breath, and for the first time since I had known him, he looked uncertain. Where do I begin? How about with the truth, something you were never very good at? That is fair. He nodded slowly. You left because you discovered what my family really did, what I really did. You mean that you were not just in import and export like you told me, that your family was actually one of the most powerful crime organizations on the West Coast, that the money paying for our apartment, our lifestyle, everything came from illegal activities I could not even fully comprehend. I did not lie to you, Isabella. I just did not tell you everything. That is called lying by omission. I kept my voice low, aware of the people around us. You let me believe we were building a normal life together. You let me plan a future that was based on a complete fiction. I wanted to protect you. You wanted to control me. I leaned forward. There is a difference, Luca. Protection would have been honesty. Control is keeping someone in the dark so they cannot make informed decisions about their own life. He flinched, and I felt a small, bitter satisfaction at landing that blow. You are right. He met my eyes directly. I was controlling. I thought if I kept you separate from that part of my life, you could be happy, that we could be happy. And how did that work out? It did not, obviously. He picked up his espresso cup, then set it down without drinking. When you left, Isabella, it destroyed me. I highly doubt that. I crossed my arms. From what I read in the news over the years, you have done just fine, expanded the business, became even more powerful, married that socialite. What was her name? Adriana something. Adriana Castellano. Luca's mouth tightened. That marriage lasted 8 months. It was a business arrangement that satisfied certain family obligations. Nothing more. How romantic. There has been nothing romantic in my life since you left. The rawness in his voice made me look away. Nothing real. Do not do that. I kept my eyes on the rain outside. Do not try to make me feel guilty for leaving. I did what I had to do to survive. I know. And I am not trying to make you feel guilty. I am just trying to tell you the truth. Something I should have done 7 years ago. I finally looked back at him. So tell me the truth now. What has changed? Why are you really here in Seattle? And do not tell me it is just business. Luca was quiet for a long moment, his fingers drumming once on the table before he stilled them. I am here because I am trying to build something different, something legitimate. For the past 3 years, I have been systematically moving my family's operations away from the illegal activities you discovered, transitioning everything into legal enterprises. I do not believe you. I did not expect you to. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card, sliding it across the table. This is my company, Moretti Enterprises. Look it up. We are publicly traded now. Board of directors, shareholders, annual reports, everything transparent and legal. I picked up the card, studying it. The design was elegant, expensive. Moretti Enterprises. Luca Moretti, Chief Executive Officer. A Seattle address. Why Seattle? I asked. Your family is based in New York. Because you are in Seattle. His honesty was like a physical blow. I knew you had moved here after the divorce. I have always known where you were, Isabella. The coffee I had not yet tasted suddenly felt like acid in my stomach. You have been keeping tabs on me? Not the way you think. Luca held up a hand. I never invaded your privacy. Never had you followed or watched. But I kept track of where you were living, just to make sure you were safe. That is all. That is not all. That is stalking. It is protection. He leaned forward. You may not have been my wife anymore, but that did not mean I stopped caring about your safety. My family has enemies, Isabella. Enemies who might have seen you as a way to hurt me. Even after the divorce, I needed to know you were safe. The twisted logic of his world, where surveillance equals caring, where control equals protection. And what if I had dated someone? I challenged. What if I had gotten remarried? Would you have just watched from afar like some creepy ghost from my past? Pain flashed across his face. Did you? Date someone? Remarry? That is none of your business. I know. He sat back. But I still want to know. The truth was, I had not. Had barely dated at all in 7 years. A few dinners here and there with men Clara set me up with. Nothing that went past a third date. Nothing that made me feel even a fraction of what I had felt with Luca, back before I knew the truth. Back when I thought we were just two people in love, but I would never admit that to him. No, I finally said. I have been focused on building my career. My editing business has done very well. I have high-profile clients now, a reputation, independence, all the things I did not have when I was with you. I am glad, and he sounded like he meant it. You deserved to build something that was yours. I took that from you during our marriage. I took a lot of things from you. The unexpected contrition threw me. This was not the Luca I remembered. The Luca I had known never apologized, never admitted fault, never showed vulnerability. Who are you? I asked quietly. The man I married would never say these things. The man you married was arrogant and blind. Luca's voice was steady. He thought he could have everything, power and love, control and partnership. He did not understand that those things are incompatible. He did not understand a lot of things until the most important person in his life walked out the door. I did not walk out. I fled. There is a difference. I wrapped my hands around the still warm coffee cup, needing something to anchor me. I found out my husband was a criminal, that the life we were building was funded by activities that got people hurt, possibly killed. I could not stay, Luca. It was not just about trust or honesty. It was about my moral survival. I know. And he did sound like he knew, like he had spent 7 years thinking about this, which is why I am changing everything, why I have spent the last 3 years doing the hardest work of my life, not building power or wealth, dismantling it, redirecting it, trying to become someone who could stand in front of you and not see disappointment in your eyes. My throat tightened. This was too much, too fast. 7 years of silence and separation, and now he was sitting here saying all the things I had once desperately needed to hear. Why now? I asked. Why, after 7 years, are you suddenly interested in redemption? Because it took me that long to figure out how to do it. Luca's dark eyes held mine. You think it is easy to walk away from a legacy that spans generations? To untangle legitimate businesses from illegal operations without getting people killed? To convince family members and associates that there is another way? It has taken 3 years, Isabella. 3 years of careful planning, strategic exits, and building something new from the ground up. And you just happened to end up in Seattle. I chose Seattle. He did not break eye contact. I could have built my new headquarters anywhere. New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. But I chose here, because even if you never forgave me, even if you never wanted to see me again, I wanted to be in the same city as you, close enough to make sure you were safe if you ever needed me, far enough away to respect the boundaries you set when you left. That is insane. That is love. Luca's voice was soft but certain, the kind that does not go away just because it is inconvenient or unwanted. I stood abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. I need to go. This is too much. Isabella, please. Your 5 minutes are up, Luca. Actually, they were up 4 minutes ago. I grabbed my bag, leaving the untouched cappuccino on the table. Do not contact me. Do not come to my office. Do not show up in places you think I might be. Whatever you are trying to do here, whatever redemption arc you are playing out, leave me out of it. I turned and walked toward the door, my vision blurring with tears I would not let fall until I was safely away from him. I will leave you alone. His voice followed me, quiet but clear. But the offer stands. If you ever want to talk, to hear the full story, to see what I have built, you know where to find me. I pushed through the cafe door into the rain, not caring that I had no umbrella, that I would be soaked by the time I reached my car. The cold water felt cleansing, shocking me back into the present, away from the complicated tangle of past and possible futures. I had spent 7 years rebuilding myself, 7 years creating a life that was mine, that was safe, that had nothing to do with Luca Moretti and his dangerous world. I was not about to let one chance encounter undo all of that, even if a small, treacherous part of me wanted to turn back. I made it 3 days before curiosity got the better of me. 3 days of trying to focus on work, on the manuscripts that needed editing, on the clients who needed attention. 3 days of Clara asking why I seemed distracted. 3 days of lying awake at night thinking about Luca's words, his claims of change, the pain in his eyes that looked too real to be manufactured. On the 4th day, I found myself sitting at my desk after hours, everyone else in the office gone, pulling up my laptop and typing Moretti Enterprises into the search bar. The results were extensive. A corporate website, sleek and professional. News articles about Luca's business ventures, financial reports that looked legitimate, information about charitable foundations, community investments, technology startups, nothing about crime families or illegal operations, nothing that suggested the world I had fled from. I dug deeper, spending hours going through press releases and business filings and shareholder reports. Everything looked clean, legitimate, exactly what Luca had claimed, but appearances could be deceiving. I knew that better than anyone. I was about to close my laptop when I noticed an article from a business journal, dated 6 months ago. The headline caught my eye. Former crime family heir builds tech empire on principles of redemption. I clicked on it, my heart pounding. The article was long, detailed, and surprisingly candid. It chronicled Luca's journey over the past 3 years, how he had gradually extracted his family's operations from illegal activities, the resistance he had faced from other family members and associates, the threats, the attempts on his life, the constant danger of trying to change a system that did not want to be changed. There were quotes from him about legacy and responsibility, about wanting to build something his future children could be proud of, about understanding that real power came from creation, not destruction. And there was a section about his divorce. Moretti is reticent about his personal life, but he admits that his brief marriage, which ended 7 years ago, was a catalyst for his transformation. When asked what prompted his change in direction, he simply says, "I lost the most important person in my life because I was too proud and too blind to see that the path I was on would destroy everything good I had. Some lessons cost everything to learn." I closed the laptop, my hands shaking. He had not named me, had not violated my privacy or dragged me into his public narrative. But the admission was clear, personal, real. My phone buzzed. A text from Clara. "Dinner tonight? You have been weird all week. I am worried about you." I stared at the message, then at the closed laptop, then out the window at the Seattle skyline beginning to light up as evening descended. I needed to talk to someone, needed to process what I was feeling, what I was thinking, what I was, God help me, considering. "Yes," I typed back. "Your place or mine?" "Mine. I will cook. Be here at 7. And bring wine. Good wine." Clara's apartment was warm and welcoming when I arrived, the scent of garlic and tomatoes filling the air. She took one look at my face and poured me a glass of the expensive Cabernet I had brought. "Okay." She pointed to her couch. "Sit. Talk. What happened?" I saw Luca. Her eyes went wide. "Your ex-husband Luca? Mafia boss Luca? He prefers entrepreneur now, apparently." I took a long drink of wine. "I ran into him at a cafe 4 days ago." "And?" Clara sat beside me, her full attention focused. "What did he say? What did you say? Oh my God, did you kill him? Do I need to help you dispose of a body?" Despite everything, I laughed. No bodies. Just a conversation. A complicated, painful, confusing conversation. I told her everything. The encounter at the cafe, Luca's claims about changing his business, his admission that he had known where I was all these years, his statement about still loving me. When I finished, Clara sat back, her expression thoughtful. "So, what are you going to do?" "Nothing." I set down my wine glass. "I am going to do exactly what I have been doing for 7 years. Live my life, build my career, stay far away from Luca Moretti and his complicated, dangerous world." "Liar." "Excuse me? You are lying. To me and to yourself." Clara turned to face me fully. "Isabella, I have been your best friend since you moved to Seattle. I have watched you date safe, boring men who could never hurt you because they could never reach you. I have watched you throw yourself into work to avoid dealing with your feelings. I have watched you build this perfect, controlled life where nothing can touch you. And you know what? It is killing you slowly. I am fine. You are surviving. There is a difference. Clara's voice was gentle but firm. You have been in a holding pattern for 7 years, waiting for something, though you would never admit what. I am not waiting for Luca. Are not you? She raised an eyebrow. Look, I am not saying you should run back to him. God knows he hurt you badly enough that you would be justified in never speaking to him again. But what if he is telling the truth? What if he really has changed? People do not change, Clara. Not fundamentally. Do not they? She challenged. You changed. The woman who left New York 7 years ago is not the woman sitting on my couch right now. You became stronger, more independent, more sure of yourself. If you can change, why can't he? Because the stakes are different. I stood, needing to move. I changed myself, my career, my life. He would have to change an entire organization, a legacy, a way of life that has existed for generations. And according to that article you read, that is exactly what he is doing. I paced to her window, looking out at the city lights. Or it is an elaborate con, a way to manipulate public opinion while continuing the same operations under a different name. Do you really believe that? Clara came to stand beside me. Because I do not think you do. I think you are scared, and you have every right to be. But maybe, just maybe, you owe it to yourself to find out the truth, not for him, for you. I leaned my forehead against the cool glass. What if I look into it and discover he is lying? That it is all just a facade? Then you walk away with closure, knowing you made the right choice 7 years ago and reconfirming it now. And what if he is telling the truth? Clara put her hand on my shoulder. Then you decide what you want to do with that information. No pressure, no expectations, just an informed choice about your own life. We stood there in silence for a while, watching the city below. Cars moved through streets. People walked on sidewalks. Lives intersected and diverged and intersected again in patterns too complex to predict. I will think about it, I finally said. That is all I am asking. Clara squeezed my shoulder. Now come eat. The pasta is getting cold, and I will not let Luca Moretti ruin my cooking. Over the next 2 weeks, I tried to focus on anything other than Luca, but he had infiltrated my thoughts like smoke, impossible to keep out. I found myself researching his company during lunch breaks, driving past the address on his business card after work, though I never went inside, reading every article I could find about his business transformation. Everything pointed to the same conclusion. Luca Moretti had done exactly what he claimed. Built a legitimate business empire from the ashes of his family's criminal organization, and by all accounts, he had made powerful enemies in the process. There were subtle hints in the business press about resistance he had faced, mentions of strategic partnerships that fell through unexpectedly, references to security concerns that required increased protective measures. He had not been exaggerating about the difficulty or the danger. If you enjoyed this emotional reunion so far, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you do not miss what happens when Isabella finally confronts her past and decides whether to give Luca a second chance. I was reading another article about a tech acquisition Moretti Enterprises had just finalized when my office phone rang. Isabella Chen. I answered automatically, my attention still half on the screen. Miss Chen, this is David Garrett from Seattle General Hospital. I am calling about Luca Moretti. He has listed you as his emergency contact. My blood went cold. What happened? There was an incident at his office building. Mr. Moretti was injured. He is stable now, but he has been asking for you. Can you come to the hospital? I will be right there. The words were out of my mouth before my brain caught up. I grabbed my purse and coat, yelling to my assistant that I had an emergency as I rushed out. The drive to Seattle General took 20 minutes that felt like hours. My mind raced through possibilities. What kind of incident? How badly was he hurt? Why had he listed me as his emergency contact? And underneath all of that, the terrifying realization that the thought of Luca being seriously hurt made my chest tight with fear. The emergency room was chaos. I pushed through to the reception desk. I'm looking for Luca Moretti. I was called about him. The receptionist checked her computer. Are you family? I am his emergency contact. My voice came out sharper than I intended. Please, I need to see him. She gave me a visitor badge and directions to the 3rd floor. I practically ran to the elevators, my heart pounding. The 3rd floor was quieter, more controlled. A nurse directed me to a private room at the end of the hall. Outside the door stood a man in a dark suit, clearly security. He nodded at me and stepped aside. I pushed open the door. Luca lay in the hospital bed, looking both vulnerable and somehow still commanding. His left arm was in a sling, bandages visible under his partially open hospital gown. A cut on his forehead had been stitched. Bruising darkened his jaw, but he was alive, conscious. and when he saw me, his eyes lit up with an expression of such relief and joy that it made my breath catch. "Isabella," his voice was hoarse. "You came. What happened?" I moved to the bedside without thinking. The nurse said there was an incident. Someone planted a bomb in my office building. Luca's matter-of-fact tone was chilling. Small, contained, designed to send a message rather than cause mass casualties. But I was too close when it went off. Oh my God. I sank into the chair beside the bed. "Are you okay? What did the doctors say?" "Broken collarbone, some cuts and bruises, a concussion." Luca met my eyes. "I have survived worse. This is not funny. I am not joking." He reached for my hand with his good arm, hesitated. "May I?" Against all better judgment, I placed my hand in his. His fingers curled around mine, warm and solid and alive. "I am glad you came." Luca's thumb traced circles on my palm. "I was not sure you would. You listed me as your emergency contact. Why would you do that? Because you are still the person I trust most in this world. Even if you never want to see me again, even if you hate me, you are the one I want notified if something happens to me. That is insane. You have family, friends, a whole company full of people, and you are the only one whose opinion of me actually matters." He held my gaze. "The only one I have ever truly cared about disappointing." I looked down at our joined hands, this connection that felt both foreign and achingly familiar. Who did this? Who tried to kill you? Old associates who are unhappy about the direction I have taken the business. Luca's voice was tired. The Valenti family, specifically. They have been making threats for months. Today they made good on them. And you think this will stop? That you can just transform a criminal organization without consequences? No. He squeezed my hand gently. "I know exactly what the consequences are. I have known from the beginning. But some things are worth the risk." "Like what?" "What is worth dying for, Luca? The chance to become someone you could respect again. Someone you could possibly forgive. Someone who could look in the mirror and not see his father's legacy of violence and crime." The raw honesty in his words broke something open in me. All the walls I had so carefully constructed, all the distance I had maintained, it crumbled in the face of his vulnerability. "I never stopped loving you, Isabella." Luca's voice was barely above a whisper. "Not for a single day in 7 years. I know I have no right to ask for a second chance. I know what I put you through, the lies, and the betrayal. But I'm asking anyway, not for marriage, not for commitment, just for the opportunity to show you who I have become." Tears I had been holding back finally spilled over. "Do you have any idea how terrifying this is for me? Seeing you here, hurt, because of the world you come from. The world you claim to be leaving, but that clearly has not left you. I know. And I would understand completely if you walked out that door right now and never looked back. But I am asking you not to. I am asking you to give me a chance to prove that the past 3 years have not been for nothing. Someone tried to kill you today, Luca. The danger is not theoretical. It is real. And if I let myself care about you again, if I let you back into my life, I am accepting that danger too. I would never let anything happen to you." His intensity was almost frightening. "You would be protected. Every resource I have would be dedicated to your safety. I do not want to be protected like some helpless damsel." I pulled my hand away. "I want a life that does not require armed guards and security protocols. A normal life. I am not sure I can give you normal," Luca admitted. "But I can give you honest. I can give you a life built on truth instead of secrets. I can give you a choice about being part of this world instead of being kept in the dark." His honesty, so different from the man I had married, made me pause. I need time. I stood, needing distance to think, time to process this, to figure out what I want. "Take all the time you need." Luca's eyes followed me. "I am not going anywhere." "Clearly not." I gestured to his injuries. "You are stuck in a hospital bed." A faint smile crossed his face. "My circumstances have been worse." I moved toward the door, then stopped. "Why did you really come to Seattle, Luca? And do not tell me it was just for business." He was quiet for a moment. "Because I wanted to be close to you. Even if you never knew I was here. Even if I never saw you. It was enough to be in the same city, breathing the same air, existing in the same space. Pathetic, perhaps, but true. That is not pathetic." My voice was soft. "It is actually kind of romantic, in a stalkerish, complicated way. I will take stalkerish and romantic over hated and forgotten. I never hated you, Luca." I was looking at him but also through him, back to our past. "I hated what you did. The lies, the secrets, but I never hated you. Is that enough to build on?" Hope colored his voice. "Even just a foundation for friendship? I do not know yet." I turned back to the door, "But I will think about it." "Isabella." I paused at the sound of my name. "Be careful going home. My security will follow you. Not intrusively, just at a distance, The people who did this might try to hurt me through you. The reminder of danger was jarring. This was the reality of his world. Even the reformed version. Violence lurked at the edges, waiting for opportunities. I will be careful. I left before I could say anything else, anything I might regret, but I did not go straight home. Instead, I drove to the waterfront, parking at a lookout point where I could see the city stretched out before me, the lights reflecting on the dark water. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It is Luca. I had the nurse get your number from the hospital records. I hope that is okay. I just wanted to make sure you got home safely. And to say thank you for coming. It meant more than you know. I stared at the message, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. Finally, I typed back. I am at the waterfront, thinking. And you are welcome. Try not to get blown up again. His response came quickly. I will do my best. The waterfront is beautiful at night. I used to go there sometimes, hoping I might see you. Never did. That is because I usually go during lunch breaks, when normal people are awake and not lurking, hoping for glimpses of their ex-wives. Fair point. Can I ask you something? You can ask. I cannot promise I will answer. Did you ever think about me during these 7 years? The question sat on my screen, demanding honesty. I could lie, protect myself, maintain distance, or I could tell the truth every day, even when I did not want to, even when I tried not to. You were always there, in the back of my mind, a door I had closed but never quite locked. The response took longer this time. I think about a different version of us sometimes. The US we could have been if I had been honest from the start. If I had given you the choice about my world instead of making it for you. I think about that too. And I wonder if it would have made a difference. If I would have chosen differently if I had known the truth before I fell in love with you. Would you have? I do not know. I was young, in love. Maybe I would have convinced myself I could handle it. Or maybe I would have run before it got complicated. For what it is worth, I am glad you ran when you did. It hurt. God, it destroyed me. But you deserved better than what I was giving you. You deserved honesty, and I was too much of a coward to provide it. I sat there reading and rereading his message. This version of Luca, vulnerable and honest and accepting responsibility, was so different from the man I had married, that Luca had been confident to the point of arrogance, certain that his way was the only way, unwilling to admit fault or show weakness. This Luca, the one texting me from a hospital bed after surviving an assassination attempt, felt real in a way the old version never had. Get some rest, I finally typed. We can talk more when you are not high on pain medication and concussed. I am completely lucid. But yes, rest sounds good. Will you visit me again? Maybe. I smiled despite myself. If you are lucky, I am the luckiest unlucky person I know. Good night, Isabella. Dream of waterfront views and possibilities. Good night, Luca. Dream of not being exploded. I tucked my phone away and sat there a while longer, watching the city lights dance on the water. Somewhere out there, people were living normal lives, falling in love without complications, building futures without danger lurking at the edges. I had thought I wanted that, had spent 7 years trying to create a simple, safe existence. But maybe Clara was right. Maybe I had just been existing, not really living, holding myself in stasis, waiting for something I would not let myself name. I started my car and headed home, aware of the black SUV following at a discreet distance. Luca's security, keeping me safe from threats I still did not fully understand. Normal, I thought, was overrated anyway. The next 3 days established a pattern I had not planned but could not quite resist. I visited Luca in the hospital each evening after work, telling myself I was just being a decent human being, checking on an injured acquaintance, nothing more. But the truth was more complicated. With each visit, the guard I had built around my heart weakened a little more. Luca was charming and funny and surprisingly self-deprecating. He told me stories about his business ventures, the challenges of going legitimate, the allies he had found in unexpected places. He asked about my work, actually listening when I talked about the manuscripts I was editing. He remembered details from one conversation to the next, the difficult author I was dealing with, the promotion I was hoping for, the book I was reading. This was the man I had fallen in love with 7 years ago, before the lies and secrets had poisoned everything. Except now he was more grounded, more honest, more willing to be vulnerable. On the 4th day, I arrived to find him out of bed, dressed in jeans and a button-down shirt, his arm still in a sling, but otherwise looking remarkably recovered. You are being discharged? I set down the coffee I had brought him, a cappuccino from the café where we had reunited. Tomorrow morning. Luca took the coffee with his good hand. But I was going stir-crazy in that bed. The doctors finally agreed to let me up. Should you be up? You were blown up less than a week ago. Technically, I was near something that was blown up. There is a difference. He smiled. And I have had excellent motivation to heal quickly. What motivation? You. He said it simply, like it was obvious. I have been getting to see you every day. That is better medicine than anything they can give me here. I looked away, flustered. You are on a lot of pain medication. It is making you sappy. I am completely lucid and completely serious. He moved closer, careful of his injuries. Isabella, these past few days, talking with you, laughing with you, seeing you let your guard down even a little, it has been the best gift I could have asked for. Luca, I did not know what to say. I am not asking for anything. He held up his good hand. I am just grateful for what you have already given me. Your time, your presence, the chance to show you I meant what I said. About changing, about loving you. Still, always, even when it seemed hopeless. My heart hammered in my chest. Before I could respond, a knock at the door interrupted us. A woman entered, mid-50s, elegant in a way that spoke of old money and careful grooming. Her dark hair was swept up, her suit perfectly tailored. She stopped short when she saw me. Luca. Her accent placed her from New York, Italian heritage clear in her pronunciation. I did not realize you had company. Mother. Luca's tone was carefully neutral. This is Isabella. Isabella, my mother. Sophia Moretti, the woman who had never approved of me, who had made her feelings clear during our brief marriage that I was not suitable for her son. Not connected enough, not sophisticated enough, not Italian enough. Mrs. Moretti. I extended my hand. It has been a long time. Isabella. She took my hand briefly, her grip cool and formal. Indeed it has. I heard about your divorce, of course. Such a shame. The dig was subtle, but unmistakable. I had failed her son, had not been strong enough to handle the Moretti world. Actually, Luca's voice cut in, sharp. The divorce was my fault. Isabella made the right decision in leaving me. I was dishonest and controlling, and she deserved better. His mother's eyebrows rose. That is a very different story from what you told me at the time. At the time, I was not ready to accept responsibility. Luca met her gaze steadily. I am now. The tension in the room was thick. I moved toward my purse. I should go. Let you two talk. You do not have to leave, Luca said quickly. Actually, I do. I smiled at him, genuine warmth in it despite the awkwardness. I have an early meeting tomorrow, but I am glad you are being discharged. Try to avoid any more explosions. I will do my best. As I moved past Mrs. Moretti toward the door, she spoke again. Miss Chen, a word, if you do not mind. I paused, looking back. Of course. Walk with me. She moved into the hallway, clearly expecting me to follow. Luca's expression was a mixture of concern and apology. I shook my head slightly, indicating I could handle it, and followed his mother into the corridor. We walked in silence until we reached a small waiting area, empty at this late hour. Mrs. Moretti turned to face me, her expression unreadable. I will be direct, she said. What are your intentions toward my son? I do not have intentions. We ran into each other by chance. I have been visiting because he was injured. Nothing more. Do not insult my intelligence. Her voice was cold. Luca has been in love with you for 7 years. He tore apart our family's business, made enemies of people who were once allies, risked his life repeatedly, all in some misguided attempt to become someone you could respect. And now you appear at his bedside, giving him hope that maybe, just maybe, his sacrifices were not for nothing. I did not ask him to do any of that. No, you simply left, walked away from your marriage, from your vows, from your responsibilities as a Moretti wife. Anger flared hot in my chest. I left because Luca lied to me about who he was and what he did, because I discovered I had married into a criminal organization, because staying would have destroyed me. And you think he has changed? Mrs. Moretti's laugh was bitter. You think 3 years of legitimate business dealings have erased generations of family legacy? You are naive. Maybe I am. I met her gaze directly. Or maybe I see something you do not. Maybe I see a man who is genuinely trying to be better, to build something different. He is building a fantasy. And when it collapses, when the reality of who we are reasserts itself, he will be left with nothing. No family support, no traditional power base, nothing but legitimate businesses that cannot protect him from the enemies he has made. Then help him. I kept my voice level. You are his mother. Support his efforts instead of undermining them. I am trying to protect him. Her voice cracked slightly, revealing real emotion beneath the cold exterior. From himself, from his obsession with redemption. From you. From me? You broke him once. She straightened, composing herself. When you left, he fell apart, stopped eating, stopped sleeping, made reckless decisions that nearly got him killed multiple times. It took him 2 years to recover. And now you reappear, and I see that same look in his eyes, that hope, that vulnerability. And I know that if you hurt him again, it might destroy him completely. The admission surprised me. I had never considered that Mrs. Moretti actually loved her son, that she might be motivated by genuine concern, rather than just family pride. I am not trying to hurt him, I said quietly. I am just trying to figure out what I feel, what I want, whether the man he is now is someone I can trust. He is still a Moretti. Her voice hardened again. That will never change. And being a Moretti means danger, complications, a life that most people cannot handle. You could not handle it 7 years ago. What makes you think you can now? Maybe I cannot, I acknowledged. Maybe I am being stupid even considering this. But that is my decision to make, not yours. We stood there, 2 women who loved the same man in different ways, each convinced we knew what was best for him. He deserves to be happy. Mrs. Moretti finally said, whatever else I may think, I want that for him. But I do not believe you can give him that. You come from different worlds, want different things, and eventually, that fundamental incompatibility will resurface. You might be right. I turned to leave, but I am going to find out for myself. Back at my apartment, I poured a glass of wine and sank onto my couch, emotionally exhausted. Mrs. Moretti's words echoed in my mind. You broke him once. When you left, he fell apart. I had never let myself think about what my leaving had done to Luca, had assumed he moved on quickly, finding comfort in power and wealth and whatever else his world had to offer. The idea that he had fallen apart, that my absence had shattered him, made something twist painfully in my chest. My phone buzzed. Luca, I am sorry about my mother. She means well, but her methods leave something to be desired. Are you okay? I am fine. She is protective of you. I understand that. She is terrified of you. His next message came quickly. Terrified of how much power you have over me, how completely you can destroy me with a word or a look. She is not wrong to be scared. I do not want power over you, Luca. I do not want to destroy you. I know, but you could, easily. My heart is not my own where you are concerned. It never has been. I stared at the message, wine forgotten. This vulnerability, this honesty, it was everything I had craved during our marriage, everything he had been too proud to show me. Can I see you tomorrow, after you are discharged? The response came immediately. Yes, please, come to my apartment for dinner. I promise I can cook with one arm. You do not have to cook for me. I want to. Let me do this, Isabella. Let me show you my home, my life, what I have built. No pressure, no expectations. Just dinner between 2 people trying to figure out if they have a future. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the keyboard. Saying yes felt like stepping off a cliff. Saying no felt like closing a door I might never be able to reopen. What time? I finally typed. 7? I will send a car for you. I can drive myself. Please let me send a car. The people who targeted me are still out there. I need to know you are safe. The reminder of danger was sobering. This was not just about romance or second chances. Real threats existed. People who would hurt me to get to him. Okay, a car at 7. But Luca? Yes? If I come to dinner, if I agree to explore this possibility between us, I need complete honesty. No more secrets. No more protecting me by keeping me in the dark. I need to know everything about your world, your business, the dangers, all of it. You have my word. Complete transparency, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it makes me look bad. You deserve nothing less. I set my phone down and looked around my carefully constructed, safe, separate life. This apartment with its comfortable furniture and walls decorated with art I had chosen. This existence I had built where nothing touched me too deeply, where I was in control, where I was protected from pain. It was a good life, a fine life, but was it enough? Clara's words echoed in my mind. You have been in a holding pattern for 7 years, waiting for something. Though you would never admit what. Maybe I had been waiting for this, for Luca to become someone I could trust, for circumstances to shift enough that a second chance became possible, for my own heart to be ready to risk everything again. I finished my wine and went to bed, dreams filled with possibilities and dangers in equal measure. The next evening I stood in front of my closet, trying to decide what to wear to dinner with my ex-husband in his apartment. Too casual seemed disrespectful, too formal seemed presumptuous. Everything in between felt loaded with meaning I was not ready to assign. I finally settled on dark jeans and a soft green sweater, comfortable but put together. the kind of outfit that suggested I had made an effort without trying too hard. The car arrived precisely at 7. Not the black SUV from before, but a sleek sedan with a professional driver who introduced himself as Thomas. The drive took us through the city to a neighborhood I rarely visited, expensive high-rises with doormen and private elevators, the kind of place where security was discreet but omnipresent. Thomas pulled up to a building that was all glass and steel, modern and imposing. "Mr. Moretti is expecting you." He handed me a key card. "Penthouse level. The elevator will take you directly to his apartment." "Thank you." I took the card, my palms suddenly sweaty. The elevator was sleek and fast, rising smoothly to the top floor. The doors opened directly into Luca's apartment. No hallway or intermediary space. Private access straight from street to home. The apartment was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, the view breathtaking as evening light painted the sky in shades of orange and purple. The decor was modern but warm, a mix of comfortable furniture and carefully chosen art. Nothing ostentatious, just quietly expensive and tasteful. Luca stood near the windows, his back to me, one arm still in a sling. He turned when he heard the elevator doors. "Isabella." He smiled, and the genuine pleasure in his expression made my heart skip. "You came." I said I would. I stepped into the apartment, setting my purse on a side table. "Your home is beautiful. Thank you. I spent a long time making it feel right. Come, let me show you around." He gave me a tour with obvious pride. The open kitchen where he had been preparing dinner one-handed with what appeared to be considerable skill. The living room with its comfortable furniture and bookshelves filled with literature and history. A study with a desk overlooking the city. Papers neatly organized despite the chaos of running a company. And everywhere, subtle signs of security. Cameras, reinforced doors, bulletproof glass in the windows, reminders that beauty and danger coexisted in his world. We ended up back in the kitchen, where something delicious simmered on the stove. I made risotto. Luca stirred the pot carefully, one of the few things I can manage one-handed. "I hope you still like it. I love risotto." I moved to the counter, watching him work. "This feels surreal, being here with you. Like we stepped into some alternate timeline." "Maybe we did." He glanced at me, his expression soft. "The timeline where I was honest from the start, where you got to make an informed choice about being with me. And in this timeline, did I choose you? I do not know yet." Luca turned back to the stove. "That is what we are here to find out." We ate at his dining table, the city lights providing all the ambiance we needed. The risotto was perfect, creamy and flavorful. We drank wine and talked about everything and nothing. Books we had read, places we wanted to travel. Silly memories from our marriage that no longer hurt to revisit. It felt easy, natural, like no time had passed, except we were both different people now. Older, wiser, scarred by life, but somehow stronger for it. After dinner, we moved to the living room. Luca poured us both a glass of excellent scotch, and we sat on the couch, a careful distance between us, watching the city through the windows. "You promised me complete honesty," I said, breaking the comfortable silence. "So I'm going to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Anything. Are you truly safe now? Really safe? Or is what happened at your office just the beginning?" Luca was quiet for a long moment. "The truth is, I do not know. The Valenti family has been neutralized, their leadership arrested on unrelated charges that I may have anonymously provided evidence for. But there are other families, other associates who do not like the direction I have taken things. I have made myself safer than I was, but I cannot promise I am completely safe. I am not sure that exists in my world. So if I choose to be part of your life again, I am accepting that danger." "Yes," he met my eyes. "And that is why I will understand if you do not choose me, if the risk is too great. Your safety matters more to me than my happiness. What if I told you that these past 7 years, the safe life I built, it has felt empty? That I achieved everything I thought I wanted, independence and success and stability, and it still felt like something was missing. What was missing? You." The admission felt like stepping off a cliff. I spent 7 years convincing myself I was over you, that I had moved on, that the Isabella who loved Luca Moretti was a different person, younger and more naive, but she was still here, waiting. Luca set down his glass and turned to face me fully. "Isabella, I need you to understand something. If you give me another chance, if you decide to try this with me, I will not waste it. I will be honest about everything. The business, the dangers, the complications. You will be a partner in every sense, not someone I protect by keeping in the dark. That is what I need. Partnership, equality, trust. You have it. All of it." He moved closer, close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from him. "And if at any point you decide it is too much, if you want out, I will let you go." No guilt, no manipulation, no making you feel like you owe me anything. I searched his face, looking for any sign of deception, but all I saw was sincerity and hope, and a vulnerability that made my heart ache. If you enjoyed this intense reunion, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you do not miss the conclusion of Isabella and Luca's second chance at love. I have conditions, I said firmly. If we do this, if we try again, we do it my way. Tell me. No marriage. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I need time to rebuild trust without the pressure of legal or religious commitments. Agreed. Complete transparency about your business. I want to know what you do, who you work with, what risks exist. No protecting me with ignorance. Agreed. Therapy. Together. I do not care how tough you think you are or how much you have changed. We need professional help navigating this. That surprised him, but he nodded. Agreed. And if at any point the danger becomes too great, if I decide I cannot live like this, we end things amicably. No drama, no trying to convince me to stay. You let me walk away. His jaw tightened, but he nodded. Agreed. Though I will fight like hell to make sure we never reach that point. Those are my terms. Then I accept them. Luca reached for my hand, waiting for permission. May I? I placed my hand in his. His fingers closed around mine, familiar and new at the same time. I am terrified, I admitted. Terrified of getting hurt again. Terrified of the danger. Terrified of losing myself in your world. I am terrified too. Luca's thumb traced circles on my palm. Terrified of letting you down. Terrified that I am not capable of being the man you need. Terrified that I will do something stupid that drives you away. So we are both terrified. Is that a bad foundation for a relationship? I smiled despite the tears threatening to spill. Probably, but it is an honest one. Then let us build something on honesty, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is scary. His eyes held mine. I love you, Isabella. I have loved you since the day we met, through our marriage and our divorce and every day since. I know I have no right to expect you to feel the same way, but I needed to say it, to be honest about where I stand. I have been so angry at you. I kept my eyes on our joined hands, for lying to me, for taking away my choice, for being the reason I fled New York and started over. I have held on to that anger for 7 years, because it felt safer than admitting the truth. What truth? That I never stopped loving you either. That every man I dated, I compared to you. That every success I achieved felt hollow, because you were not there to share it. That coming into that cafe and seeing you sitting there, it felt like coming home. Isabella. My name was a prayer on his lips. But love is not enough. I pulled my hand back, needing distance to say what came next. Love without trust is just pain waiting to happen. Love without honesty is manipulation. Love without equality is control. We had love before, Luca, but we did not have those other things, and that is why we failed. You are right. He did not reach for me again, respecting my space. So let us build those things. Day by day, conversation by conversation, choice by choice. Let us create something that has love, but also trust and honesty and partnership. It will take time. I have time. All the time you need. It will be hard, complicated. There will be setbacks and arguments and moments when we want to give up. I expect nothing less. His smile was soft. Nothing worth having comes easily. I stood, needing to move, to process. I walked to the windows, looking out at the city that had become my home. Somewhere out there was my apartment, my office, my carefully constructed safe life. But here, in this penthouse with this man who had broken and rebuilt himself for a chance at redemption, was possibility. I want to try, I said without turning around, slowly, carefully, with eyes open and expectations managed. But I want to try. I heard him stand, felt him approach. He stopped just behind me, close enough that I could feel his presence but not touching. Thank you. His voice was thick with emotion. You will not regret this, Isabella. I swear to you. I turned to face him, tilting my head back to meet his eyes. If I do regret it, you let me go. That was the deal. That was the deal. He raised his good hand to cup my cheek, waiting for permission. I leaned into the touch, my eyes closing. 7 years of distance, of carefully maintained separation, of convincing myself I did not need this. It all fell away in that moment. When his lips met mine, gentle and questioning, it felt like coming home and stepping into the unknown at the same time. The kiss was slow, tentative, both of us testing boundaries and relearning what we once knew by heart. I pulled back first, breathless. One step at a time, one step at a time. He agreed, his forehead resting against mine. And the first step is letting me see you again, tomorrow, and the day after that, until slowly, maybe, we become part of each other's lives again. What about your mother? She is not going to be happy about this. My mother will adjust, or she will not. Either way, my choices are my own. Luca's voice was firm. I spent too many years trying to please everyone, to meet expectations that were never mine. I am done with that. What I want, what I am choosing, is you. If she cannot accept that, it is her loss. That is surprisingly mature of you. I have had 7 years to grow up. His smile was self-deprecating. Better late than never. We stood there at the windows, the city lights glittering below, two people who had loved and lost, and somehow found their way back to each other. Nothing was solved. Dangers still lurked. Complications waited around every corner. But for the first time in 7 years, I felt something other than just safe. I felt alive. What happens now? I asked. Now I take you home. Make sure you get there safely. Luca kissed my forehead gently. And tomorrow, if you are willing, we have breakfast. Something simple and normal. Coffee and conversation. The building of a new foundation. I would like that. I smiled. Something simple and normal sounds perfect. The drive back to my apartment was quiet, Luca insisting on accompanying me despite his injuries. We did not talk much, content to sit close, hands intertwined, processing everything that had happened. At my door, he kissed me goodnight, soft and sweet and full of promise. Sleep well, Isabella. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of our lives. Dramatic, perhaps, but true. Good night, Luca. Try not to get blown up before breakfast. I'm making no promises, but I will do my best. I watched him walk back to the car, security flanking him, a reminder that this new beginning came with complications I was choosing to accept. Inside my apartment, I leaned against the closed door, touching my lips where his kiss still lingered. Clara was going to lose her mind when I told her, but that could wait until tomorrow. Tonight, I just wanted to sit with this feeling, this terrifying, exhilarating, wonderful feeling of taking a risk on love, on possibility, on the chance that sometimes people really could change, that sometimes second chances actually worked. 7 years after our divorce, I had walked into a cafe, unaware my ex-husband was inside, and somehow, impossibly, we had found our way back to each other. The story was far from over. Challenges waited. Dangers lurked. His world and mine would collide in ways we could not yet predict. But for the first time since I left New York with a broken heart and a suitcase, I felt hopeful. And hope, I was learning, was the first step toward building something real, something that could last, something worth fighting for. As I got ready for bed, my phone buzzed one last time. Sweet dreams, my love. Until tomorrow. I smiled, typing back. Until tomorrow. And for the first time in 7 years, I fell asleep without the weight of past regrets crushing my chest. Instead, I felt lightness, possibility, the sense that maybe, just maybe, the best chapters of our story were yet to be written. Tomorrow would bring breakfast and conversation and the slow rebuilding of trust. The days after would bring challenges and complications and the hard work of blending our lives. But tonight, I let myself simply feel grateful for chance encounters in coffee shops, for second chances, for love that refused to die even when it should have, and for the courage to try again, even when every logical bone in my body said to run the other way. Because sometimes the greatest risk is not in trying and failing, it is in not trying at all.